Okay, let's be so real. What time is it? It is 3:57 a.m. It is almost 4 a.m. I haven't posted a video in a while. We're going to be going through what is actually in chapter 2. So chapter 2 is about processing and representing data. So one of the main topics that is in chapter 2 is tables and databases. So we have this definition from this lovely summary of this chapter provided by the Stats Academy. And we have databases, which are tables with a collection of data. They are a form of secondary data that is available online and in most cases easily accessible. So remembering, secondary data is data collected from other sources and they are freely available in most cases for you to access. So remember, if you see a database, most likely it's going to be secondary data unless you've collected it by yourself or on your behalf. In that case, it is primary data. We have a bunch of information about databases, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because obviously I'm going to explain how we would tackle exam questions on this. Two-way tables, this isn't the normal GCSE maths. This is when you get a bunch of information and you're just asked to fill out a table. So, for example, we have the total amount of people aged 30 to 36 is 21. And say if we got a male number, which was like 2, then we'd be able to figure out the other 19 people who are female, who are aged 30 to 36. And it's just stuff like that. Pictograms, foundation GCSE, I don't even think I need to give you a foundation GCSE maths, not even GCSE statistics. If you've even got onto the GCSE stats course, I'm sure you will understand how to fill out a pictogram. It is fairly self-explanatory. What you want to know is that you need to have a key. Like, look to the right side of this, we have a key. The key tells you what each picture represents. So one whole stick man represents 2 members. So if we look on the hip hop side of this table, we have one stick man, which is 2, another stick man, so together that will be 4 people supporting hip hop. Then we have half a stick man. As we know, one whole stick man represents 2 members, we know half a stick man must represent 1. And then, yeah, fairly self-explanatory. You just fill it out using common sense. Bar charts, foundation, not going to go over it. If you need a video on a bar chart, go to Maths Genie. Maths Genie will explain it. GCSE Maths Foundation, you would never see this in a higher GCSE maths paper. You may see it in a higher stats paper, but probably asked in a different way. Vertical line graphs, fairly similar to a bar chart, but instead of a bar, you have a line. Fairly self-explanatory. Multiple bar charts, or as I like to call it, composite bar charts. In fact, I used the wrong name. Multiple bar charts is when you have maybe like a boy and a girl, so you just draw them next to each other so you can see the frequency of boys in comparison to the frequency of girls because they are next to each other for each category. Composite bar charts splits it into different sections for each different category, and you can tell just by looking at it. Like, for example, we have an example of a composite bar chart for computer cells. And then, for example, in year 1, you can see that there was a high proportion of desktop cells in comparison to printers. Whereas in year 3, in fact, in year 3, it's all white. And that's not even part of the key. So I can't even tell you what the year 3 means. But I can tell you in year 2, there was a higher proportions of laptops sold in year 2 in comparison to year 1. And you can just tell by the size of the bar. So again, composite bar charts is more likely what you're going to see in a higher stats paper, but then again, it's fairly self-explanatory. Stem and leaf diagrams, again, GCSE Maths Foundation, fairly self-explanatory. I don't even have an example to show you even, but it's easy. Pie charts, GCSE Foundation. Maths Genie will have plenty of videos to show you, and it will teach you how to interpret a bar chart. It will tell you how to draw a bar chart. It will tell you how to figure out the frequency. It will even probably show you how to use a protractor if you don't know how to do that. Comparative bar charts. Oh my God. You see, it's 4 a.m. I can't even speak properly. Comparative pie charts are a bit different. This is when it gets more highery, and then I'm going to have to post a video on how to use, how to draw, how to interpret comparative pie charts. But to be fair, I probably won't show you how to draw them because most of the time they're drawn for you. Most of the time what you need to do is interpret comparative pie charts given the drawings already. Population pyramids, quite self-explanatory, but I may need to do a quick video on it. Choropleth map, oh my god, I can never say this word properly. Choropleth maps, not chloropleth, it's not chloropeth even. See, they've even tried to correct me even though I've already failed reading the words. It's like you just look at maps and the shading, the more shaded in it is, the more it represents. I will probably have to do a video on this, but it's fairly self-explanatory, I guess. Cumulative frequency diagrams and cumulative step polygons. I'll probably have to do a video on, but again, it's not the worst thing. Got some description of that. Histograms I'll probably have to do a video on, even though it's not the worst, and it is covered in GCSE maths higher. So yep, and it's telling you how to draw histograms. The shape of a distribution is probably a key thing to know, because over here we have something called positive skew. Over here we have something called negative skew. And then over here we have the normal distribution. Now I've already made a video on the normal distribution, which is in chapter 8. So if you are not confident on the normal distribution, I'd recommend watching my video so you can learn a bit more about the normal distribution and the shapes of these type of continuous random variables. Frequency polygons, foundation GCSE, go watch Maths Genie. Misleading graphs, misleading diagrams, very interesting topic, because like you can see something that's so real world, like graphs that you'll see on the news, BBC News. They'll show you these graphs that are misleading and you don't even notice it until you study statistics, and you just realize, like, how are they even allowed to post these graphs on national TV and they're not even telling you anything useful? So misleading diagrams, very interesting. In fact, misleading diagrams is one of the topics that, even though I found it really difficult and really thought-provoking, this is one of the topics, in fact, it might have been the topic that inspired me to do a statistics degree at university. Very interesting. And that is all of chapter 2.